Today on the price of admission is Emmett Merchant, former football DB standout at Navy, played safety. Emmett and I had some memorable times on the defense together, had some tough battles, but they taught us so much about grit, determination, and what it means to have each other's backs, both on and off the field. In today's episode, we're going to dive deep into Emmett's story, the gridiron at the academy, beyond that, throughout his career. He's faced his share of highs and lows. And through all of it, he's shown some incredible resilience. We're going to explore what drives him, sacrifices he's made, and how his experiences have shaped who he is today. So buckle up. This is Emmett Merchant. So today we got Emmett Merchant, another fellow Naval Academy grad, footballer, class of 2011, 2010 senior, so 1 year behind me, Navy DB safety, now an Amazon guy, right?
Yep.
You got some experience as a general manager at Alto, as well as, some director of ops time at Deep Imaging. And then also spent some time as a company officer at our beloved Naval Academy Preparatory School.
Yep.
So that'll be a fun one to get into. Surface warfare officer by trade, lots of navigation time, right? And then some propulsion, time there on your first ship. How are you doing today, man? Good to see you. Good. It's been a while. It's been 15 years, right?
Nah, man. We just seen each other in Las Vegas, man. So that
that's
cool.
Right. You're right.
That's cool.
Working on my memory. So
yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Appreciate you having me, man. Appreciate you having me. So.
Oh man, it's been a lot of fun for me doing these episodes.
Yeah.
I often think about how nostalgia drives people's future and changes and stuff. So there's been a lot of good things that come out of this for that reason. So before I ask you about your story, let's get into some memories. I got some memories from some old cats that you used to know.
Yeah.
And I just finished up an episode with Buddy Green, our defensive coordinator. And he was real good at spotting young talent at Navy, getting them into the right roles, switching them around, doing whatever to really expose their strengths. And there were three of you guys, one class behind me in the secondary.
Yeah.
Yourself, Kevin Edwards, and Wyatt Middleton. So I reached out to those two to getting Emmett on. What do you remember about the guy, right? So from Kevin Edwards, and these are all from him, and then Wyatt was just like, yeah, I agree with all those. I got nothing else to add. Was your big pick six at Ohio State junior year to set up the tying touchdown in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I definitely remember Ohio State. I was really pissed off. I was highly pissed off. We went out there and we walked out with them. They treated us like, we was little brothers, and that we were just there to, as a charity game or something, And I remember like the shift, because they were beating us the whole game. They were pounding. Yep. I've never got hit so hard on the opening kickoff. I was like, yeah, this is gonna be a long game. I remember that, vividly. Yeah. But we battled and we ended up coming back. And I remember catching the pick, and I remember like how you just see the shift in the crowd's energy went from like, thanks for being here to get out of here. So,
I horseshoe.
Yeah. And it's, so many people, man, that was probably one of the greatest, some of the greatest football memories was in that game, man. I thought that was a cool thing too. Yeah.
I got a share here. Let me see if I can figure out how to do it. This is one of my favorite pictures from the whole Navy football experience. You see that?
Yeah. Yeah, man. That was
that game.
Did we recover that fumble?
I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't think we did. Yeah, I don't think we did.
All right, let me figure out how to stop this. All right, that was an experiment, so it worked. Nice.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so that was the first one of the memories from Kevin Edwards. Uh, leaving the team,
Yeah,
about to leave the Naval Academy.
yeah,
Here's a guy that's like, yeah, I'm out. I'm outie. Didn't go through spring ball that year,
yeah.
but ended up coming back your junior year. What as you've grown and gone through the whole thing, when you look back at that, what do you think?
I mean, I think that shaped my life, how I see life today. I battled. I hated the academy. I hated naps even more.
Yeah,
But looking back, all my fondest memories are majority of my fondest memories are at those two places, right? The people that I've met at those places are my brothers. I met my ex-wife there, which shaped my family. So you know it's it, it's one of those things where at 18, 19, it's hard to keep the big picture in perspective, you know. Um, and then what you're caring about, what you're focusing on, isn't always the right thing. So I always think about that today. Like, am I really focusing on what's driving me to the next level? Am I really keeping things in perspective? I'm a real big believer in not chasing happiness, but really focusing on being content, right?
not chasing the what?
Happiness.
Okay,
Happiness. I think we
gotcha.
we chase secondary emotions, happiness, or we're moved by secondary emotions because they're the first things to come out, anger, things like that. We're chasing to be happy instead of being content. There's really no growth in happiness, right? Since it
Yeah,
ebbs and flows. Like content is happiness over time, right? So,
yeah,
we're as long as we're moving in the direction that we're going, we're sure that we're moving in that direction that we want to go.
yeah,
Is key. It's crucial. So I think that was me leaving the team a few times, me battling with that, and really being 5 years removed, going back to naps or however long it was, 8 years removed. I really wanted to share that perspective you know with the kids there, the grown men, young men there, just because, and the young women, just because you just it's hard to keep things in perspective. It's hard to keep the bigger picture. And I know I failed at that. I know, like, there are a lot of times where I was looking at the wrong things. And as soon as I changed my perspective, that was my junior year, second class year, things started to click for me. So
yeah,
things became easier for me. So I honestly tell people all the time what makes going to the academy great and why I think we're successful. It's not necessarily the name on the piece of paper, but what we had to do to get that our name on that piece of paper. And we tend to forget that. We tend to opt out of those things. The 6
yeah,
a.m. How much can we get away with? I don't want to do this. I don't want to do that. How much can we get away with? And honestly, not embracing it, because that's what makes us who we are. That's what makes us successful, because we've had those experiences. We've been through those things. So
yeah.
I would have had a lot different. I would have had a different perspective, today than and how to walk through the halls, today. So my little brother's there now, so he's
Yeah,
he's he's
he's
done a good
got some
job there.
memories. So
Yeah. Well, I have another little
you
brother
have
that's just
another
starting out.
brother.
Yeah,
Oh
so I have another
man,
that's there. So this is
filling up that pipeline. There's three of them.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's three. It might be a fourth. So
Oh man,
yeah,
good job. You know, merchant parents.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
so here's the next one, and here's one of the parents is your dad being a star football player at what, Georgia Tech.
yeah, yeah.
All right,
So
and
that's pretty
then
cool.
then
Yeah,
then having the brother following your footsteps at Navy. We got some of his comments on the memories coming up, but you know Elijah's there, and was there, got out. You got a third one, you got a fourth one, might be in the pipeline.
yeah,
So man, good example.
yeah.
Just thinking out loud.
Yeah, man. It's pretty cool. I remember, my dad had me young, so I was at the, seeing my dad win a national championship in 1990. I was two, going to games, and when we're at Army, when we played Army, Bobby Ross was the Army's head coach, my plebe year, your youngster year. So you probably played against him twice, but that was, my dad's head coach, Ralph Region at Maryland was there when we played Maryland. I got to see him. And then I used to work at Tech, so I have, friends and family members that, so it was cool. And then I remember when Coach Johnson left, friend of my family was real, she's real into Tech sports and is, piped in down there. She kind of let me know,
Sure.
like, hey, I just seen Paul Johnson,
And he
and I'm
just
telling
put these guys things in the dirt,
yeah, and
and they're about to learn.
yeah, well, like, this is before we all knew. This is before we all knew, and
Ah,
I remember telling Wyatt and Kevin, like, hey, I think Coach Johnson is going. Like, nah, he's not. Then we found out. Right, we got pulled into Bellino, and they told us, and I was like,
yeah,
I told you, I told you. But it was cool seeing Coach Johnson, and I would go back to Tech and work games sometimes, and so still seeing that, and you know, um, it was cool to have that, how things kind of came full circle for me, how things were intertwined.
yeah.
And then my brother, Coach Green snatched him up as a DB. Never played DB before. Snatched him up as a DB as soon as he got to the academy. He thought he was going to be an A back, play running
Yeah,
back, and Green was like, "Nah, you're over here. You're going to be a corner." So he enjoyed his career. He's more flashy. He wants the ball in his hands, but he can't
yeah,
catch. So
yeah,
it's good that he got moved to DB too. You would have to catch the ball at the collegiate level.
yeah. And if you get lucky, you actually catch it when it comes your way, right?
Yeah,
It's not like
yeah,
every time. It's just the
yeah,
important times.
yeah.
All right. Last one from Kevin and with Wyatt's endorsement is no moment was ever too big for him.
Yeah.
He always made an impact when it wasn't expected. So that's their stuff. Next one's Elijah, your brother. Your number 2, all right, of the 4 that you got.
Potentially for it. He's
I'm
not there
assuming
yet.
that. I mean, you got a 5th
Yeah.
brother.
No, I don't. No,
Okay,
the fourth one will be the last one. The last one.
gotcha. All right. So Elijah said, I remember the first game watching him play was when they played Ohio State, and was super excited. And on the TV copy, the first kickoff, I located him on that first
Yeah.
kickoff. Watched him get knocked off the screen. He got his bell rung and came back into the game later on,
Yeah.
and ended up getting an interception, which was when I knew he was the real deal, tough, resilient, and competitive. I think he displays that still to this day on many different areas of life.
Yeah.
So he said, I learned doing the hard things from Emmett. As a middle school, high schooler, I heard multiple conversations with him and my dad discussing their desire, your desires at the time to leave. How it was a prison. And at one point, he had every intention of, transferring. Yet he was always found a reason to stay and graduated. I also remember my time at the academy and even in the Navy, people seeing or hearing the merchant name, asking if I was related to him, because he leaves a mark in everything, and everywhere he goes. I've met so many people in the fleet that have crossed paths with him, saying how good of a guy he was because he cares, works hard, which inspired me and made me want to learn those qualities. So,
Yeah. Well, I never heard Elijah talk like that. He's always a joker. No, but that somewhat emotional. Me and Elijah, we're really close. We've always been close since, I'm 6 years older than him, but he's always followed me around. He's the only, middle school kid that was hanging around high school. I mean, not elementary kid that got to play, football with the high school kids and stuff like that. Throw them up, bust them up in the backyards, and so he's definitely got his toughness just because, and his athleticism because he got to play with the older kids on the basketball courts and stuff like that. But no, yeah, he said a lot. it's kind of hard to all to digest. But I do attack life, the same way I've always attacked life on the football field. Uh, and I feel like, I can do anything. And I feel like I can compete with anybody. Whether that's, delusional or close to the truth, doesn't matter. Is that, I'm going to go in there with that attitude, and I'm going to compete. And a lot of times, that I can't say enough. Perspective is huge. Perspective is huge, and a lot of times, just being there, wearing people down, the ball will come out, ball fall your way, and when that ball falls my way, I usually and is mentally prepared. I'm mentally prepared because I know it's coming. I'm mentally prepared to take advantage of that. So that's how I played on the football field. I was, Coach Green did a really great job of preparing us. I never felt ill prepared. I think only freshman year, when I used to cheat off when we used to have the road games and we had to do the tests before the game, and I was cheating off Buff or Rashawn or whoever, Greg, or so who I would find an upperclassman, and we all would cheat off the look over and see what the call should be or how we should draw it up. But from that point on, I think Coach Green, he embarrassed me one time. We had
Yeah,
to
he
take
figured it out. And he was like,
yeah, we
"You
had
ain't
to
gonna
we had to
cheat
take
this
the
time."
test. We had to take the test, and we had to do it in front of him, right? So we couldn't do it more. We couldn't do it on the bus, and I'm looking around like, this is gonna be bad. This is gonna be bad. So we take it, and then we go back up. I forgot who we were playing, and he pulled me aside, and he was like, "What is this?" And I've never been that embarrassed in my life because I truly didn't know.
But it was probably just you and him.
It was just me and him. It was
you
just
and
me.
him. Never
It
been
was
more
just me and
embarrassed in
him.
your life. Yeah.
Yeah. He pulled me to the side, and he asked, he was, what the hell is this? What's going on? You don't know anything. And I really didn't. But from that point on, where I positioned myself in the meetings, and I sat right behind him, so I could see the interaction between him and Coach Speed. I paid attention to what he was talking about, why he was stopping the play. I stopped falling asleep in meetings, and I was like, dang, I know a lot. And then the games started to come for me, and then going into my sophomore year, I'd seen things happen. So
Yeah.
I was able to understand. So I've never been more prepared, and having that preparedness, before the game and before life happens, and always being prepared allows me to really have that confidence even more so. So.
Well, but before I get into the one-liner from Coach Green here at the tail end of the memory section, I got to ask, with Coach Speed, for you, how's Coach Speed as a coach for you? I mean, I'd like to get him on here one day, so I got to ask a little bit about it.
Yeah, I think having a coach that played Navy football, went through Navy football, and just a quiet leader.
Yeah, it's very stoic.
Yeah, very, very stoic. Never rattled. I can count on the hands every time the plays that I made that I've seen him excited, and I was like, okay, this is what I need to do. This is where my attention needs to be. Or sometimes it wasn't me making a play; it was just me being in the right position. Like, okay, this is how you do this. So I remember the times that I've seen, and I can call them out vividly. So, I remember one time I got beat. This plebe year got beat by Greg Jones at an inside move. He runs, and as a
Greg
DB,
Jones, San Antonio, Greg Jones.
Yeah, San Antonio. He's
Notre Dame catch touchdown.
Yeah.
Greg Jones. Yeah,
and Greg Jones he's deceptively fast, and he was
super fast.
And he got on me, and it was almost nothing I can do. And all I remember is run up to that upfield shoulder, keep running, don't ever look back for the ball. And I just dive and lay out and get my hand over the top, and was able to just distract him enough to I don't know if I hit the ball or hit his arm or what, but he didn't catch the ball. And I remember Coach Speed running across the field, and so
I can imagine that right now.
Yeah.
Actually, when Joe Speed gets excited, he's got this like extra, arm.
Yeah. Yeah, so
Good stuff.
and then in the Duke game, I didn't even make the play. I didn't make the play, but I baited the quarterback, and he almost threw it. He kept it and then ran it, uh, but he was telling me about getting width and depth, and it looked beautiful. It looked beautiful on film. Me transitioning to the hook to curl, and coming to the hook and then coming back down on, so watching on film, seeing his excitement on the field, okay, this is what things supposed to look like. This was, so having that example and just him as a man, him as a coach, and I had a lot of respect for him. So yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I was probably your least favorite linebacker in the game because I couldn't cover
Why?
shit. Definitely
No,
a run guy, but
yeah,
grateful for you guys in the back that
yeah.
took that one up. All right, last one in the memory section from Coach Green. He said, and this was the only one I got from him, but it's very important. Ready? How bad did you hate the wave drill?
Oh man, I hated it. I was actually, when I was coming on, I seen Coach Green. Anytime you see Coach Green, just wave drill. Like you like it just clicks. It's like just
First
like that
memory.
trauma.
Yeah.
So we had to do a wave drill for 7 periods. I forgot what happened.
What? So for people that don't know, what is the wave drill? Go ahead and
So
describe
it's
that.
it's just movement back and forth, short bursts of speed, changing direction. You're working on, open up your hips and transitioning, like that you would on a football field. You're doing this probably only 60 seconds that you're moving like this, and then you're probably running 40 yards, and he's throwing the
So
ball, and you catch
it's
it.
your
You don't have to.
practice price of admission. It's like,
Yes,
if I make it through
yes.
this, I'll be okay for the rest of practice.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But I used to go into it like, fuck Coach Green. Let's like, we ain't gonna show that we tired. Like, let's not let him see us that he's getting to us. And we would always, come with that mindset and that attitude. But it was hard. That was hard to not do. After
Yeah.
that third or fourth one, you start to look over at the period like, okay, we got 2 minutes left. Okay. That's probably, you start to do the math, okay, we got 30 seconds left. All right. So you start to do the math. So you try not to just kind of stay in the moment, but nah, it sucks. He
But you're
always
still
said,
watching that clock a little bit.
yeah, you are. He
The whole
said,
time.
he always would say,
Actually.
he says his favorite saying was, I'm going to take your legs from you and I'm going to give them back to you right before the game. And I remember my freshman year, and we were going into the Temple game, and I was like, damn, he forgot to give me my legs back. He never gave me my legs back because I still was sore. I still was, still feeling it, So, plebe years, plebe, playing as a plebe is tough.
I bet.
Because you don't really know what to do. You're out there trying to give full effort, but you don't really know what full effort is, honestly, at this point. Because you see guys like really going out. You see guys doing some tough stuff, and like dang, like I thought I could, I thought I was tough. I thought I was, in shape. I thought I was this, and then you see what Navy football is really about that freshman year, and you don't. That's your first experience. You just went from plebe summer. You got, you're doing the miles and stuff like that, and you're doing the calisthenics, and you come over to the football side, and you jump into practice and doing 2-a-days. I don't think they do 2-a-days anymore, but you're doing 2-a-days, and you're like, man, send me back to plebe summer. That first couple practices, like I'd rather be chopping in the hall than doing this. So
Yeah.
because you're begging to get out there in football, and then you get out in football, and like, okay.
Yeah.
Camp
No,
sucks.
I remember
Wave
a
drill
lot of
sucks.
like, people getting pissed off because of like how that transition works is you do the, first half is plebe summer and then you start getting some football time as a freshman.
Yeah,
And there's a little bit of animosity about that, I guess.
yeah,
And but probably a good call to do that as a coach at Navy,
yeah,
to make that transition happen and the way they're doing it,
yeah,
because it's not a vacation. That's for damn
Yeah.
sure.
No,
But
neither one is easy. I think this might ruffle some feathers, but it's definitely easier on the plebe stuff than it is on the football field. Especially once you go to naps. Like once you go to naps, you kind of understand what's about to happen, so you're more prepared. It's
yeah,
more
you're
the
in
shock that
the
it's the
second round of the same
yeah
stuff, right?
yeah
Yeah,
yeah. So when you're about to get put on your face, what to do and what kind of where to be and what not to do. So it's a little easier for you. But
for sure.
no, that first camp was tough. That was tough.
Gotcha. All right, last one I got here from Osei Asante, center, team captain, my class. He had a question about you being a company officer at NAPS. How was
Yeah.
that for you? Back then we were not the best type of candidates,
Yeah.
but how much has changed since we were all there?
Yeah. I think my whole thing, um, for going back, was a couple things. I feel like I didn't have the right mentality and perspective when I was going through naps, and when I really like think about it, that shaped me where I'm at today and how I think, and was really built at naps. That's where it started, right? And then when I think about, I said this earlier, when I think about, I don't think about any of the negative times really at naps. It's all the good things, it's all the funny stories and the
Oh
good
yeah,
memories
same
and the
here.
meetings. Yeah, I don't have any like negative experiences, but when I was there, I can only focus on the negative, right? I can only have, I drew into the into and feed into that negative energy. Um, so I wanted to go back for that, given a different perspective. I wanted the opportunity to coach too. So I thought that was cool to be coaching and while being in the military. And um, so it was those two things were like, yeah, let me get back there. And my kids were born in Newport. So get them back there too. So it was, I have a lot of fond memories of naps. You know, for
Nice.
multitudes of different reasons. I had many different seasons at naps, but going back, it was kind of hard, honestly. It was hard just because I think um, going from I was at OCS teaching there and stuff like that, and the leadership that we are pushing there and having to try to get an 18-year-old to see the bigger picture is a very hard thing to do. And get
Yeah,
them.
it's
And I
impossible.
think too, I think today too, like I think we didn't have a lot of distractions that they did, so it's a harder challenge for them.
Yeah,
They're
I would
they're
agree.
they're a lot of different. They're fighting a lot of different things that we didn't have to deal with, and
Yeah,
that
if
we
I
didn't
had a
have.
phone
Yeah,
when I was that age, I wouldn't have gone to college. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. And then you can see like social media, and you can see what your other friends are doing, and
Oh, dude,
all yeah. So
nuts.
you're battling. We might talk to our friends and like they might tell us about the story, but we didn't see it, right? Um,
Yeah,
so it was a different challenge, and I think too like just how they communicate too, and it definitely was that was also a challenge too. But I enjoyed it. It taught me a lot. Um,
what's your biggest learning coming out of that? I know we're kind of jumping ahead, but since we're on the topic, gotta ask it.
my biggest learning actually was just um, I think for me, if something happens, I want to get it done. If something sticks into my mind, like I uber focus on that one thing, and so a lot of times that's not the and it's usually career related, but that's not the things that I truly care about. That's not the where I want to spend majority of my time. So I usually spend too much time at work. I spend too much time focusing on things that I want to get done and not over looking at the bigger picture. And I think that was probably my biggest learning thing was like being able to pull myself out of um, you know, whatever I was doing in my career or my interests
Yeah,
and
maybe
if
setting some boundaries or whatever
yeah,
on. Yeah,
yeah, on how to do that. and two, like you're coming from, active duty, where, you got to do some tough things. Uh, the level of focus and energy to do the job is high. You don't have a lot of control. You're deploying things like that, where the mission truly is the focus. And being able to set priorities when the mission isn't the focus is something I probably start to learn. Like, okay, when you do have this downtime, when the things aren't, when you're not deploying,
What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do? Like, how do you prioritize in those environments?
Yeah.
For your family and all the things that you got to get done. So I think that was the first time I was able to kind of see that picture and start that journey for myself.
Nice. Good stuff, man. Well, that's the end of the memory section. This is where we get to say, hey, Emmett, tell us your story. Go as far back as you want.
Yeah.
And we'll go from there.
Okay. No, I think I have a, pretty. I like the way things have shaped up for me. We talked about my struggles at the academy. Definitely started there, but that shaped where I wanted to go. I fought the military and tooth and nail. I didn't want to do this, and I want to do this, and I got into the military, and I actually enjoyed it. It actually was like, okay, this actually fits what I want to do and where I want to go. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to continue in the military.
Why not?
And I ended up having a stroke. I had a TIA, and so I had
A stroke.
yeah, so
Holy
TIA,
shit.
but had a medical condition that didn't allow me to continue. So I had to, get out of the military. But it came at a good time. I was on shore duty, so um, I hadn't, gone down a path, the department head path yet. So,
Gotcha.
honestly, I was very fortunate of how everything happened. Um,
Yeah.
Really, what it gave me the opportunity to do, I think. I say this to guys all the time, thinking about getting out. I see this happen all the time. Um, a lot of men and women don't really prepare for what's next, and then they get out and just
Yeah.
expect things to happen and to fall into place. A lot of times is you gotta transitioning from the military to the civilian sector is it's a different world. You're speaking a different language. People don't understand what you were doing in the military, so you got to learn how to translate what you were doing into what you're trying to do. And
Yep.
I took that time to really do that. Really take time to understand how to write a resume. Took the time to understand, like, what are the different industries, where do I want to be, like, do I want to do startup, do I want to do I want to tech, do I want to do big company, what are the trade-offs in these things. And really doing research and really preparing, starting to network and things like that. So
Yeah.
that
I
really
wish
helped me.
so my transition, I wish I would have started networking earlier.
Yeah. Yep.
So like that's huge. Like,
Yep.
another reason why
So
I do this is so I get to talk to all these people, get their experiences and help me figure out my own shit. So
100%. That actually shaped that transition well for me, because I knew I was getting out, so I had, like, 9 months or so to prepare, and maybe I think I had even a year. So I had that time to prepare, and I used that time to prepare. Doing prep interviews, different things like that. We soul community, we do boards, and so we have the skill set, but it's a little bit different. So translating those skills into you know our next phase is just some slight tweaking, but it I'm stuttering, but it does
sorry.
take practice, and it does take practice. And so I took that time to do that. Started out in a real cool company, Deep Imaging. So they're basically, they make EM technology, and we go out to fracking sites and the whole oil and
Oil
gas.
field.
Yeah, go to
Yeah.
fracking
I
sites.
got a year and a half in that field. So
Yeah,
I
it's tough. It's
know.
a tough life. It's a tough life.
Yeah. That fracking thing is sexy.
Yeah,
It's big money, it's high pressure. It is controversial, but
Yeah,
it's
it is.
also, it's what allows us to drive our cars at a cheaper gas price.
Yep.
Uh, and it originates in Texas, baby.
Yeah, yeah.
I
So
say
I was out,
originates in Texas. There's just a lot of stuff going on in
yes,
Texas,
yeah.
right?
I was out in West Texas. I
There
was
you
out in
go.
West
Which
Texas.
part?
Uh, all over. We went all the way down to. We went to did some stuff
So
in just right outside El Paso. We went to Midland. We went to Odessa. Odessa. We
Odessa.
went to. Where is it? Where's the? I can't think of where we actually went out to Wyoming too. We did some stuff in
Nice.
Wyoming. We did some stuff in Pennsylvania. But we a lot of time in West Texas.
Yeah, there's a
Uh,
time in my life where I was like trying to learn all the oil zones and limestone and all that
yeah,
kind of stuff when I was working as a pumper in the Oklahoma area. But the company I worked for was out of Midland,
yeah,
Odessa.
yeah,
So
yeah.
had to pause there and ask you a little bit more about that. So
Yeah. I mean, I honestly didn't get to do it too long just because of COVID.
okay,
So
COVID
yeah,
time
so
frame.
COVID shut down everything, and then we were a small tech company in the oil and gas, and so
So
we the
what you
first
do? You said EM imaging, right?
yep,
So like
electromagnetic.
when
We
when
took
some
pictures.
when you got a job, what did you do?
So we went out to a field, probably like a 5 by 5, 5 mile by 5 mile, area, and we took 8-inch rods and hammered them into the ground. So the West Texas hard soil, you're literally with a hammer smacking this thing into the ground, and and then we basically um, ran electricity through the through the through the through the ground, and we were able to measure the disturbance in the EM fields.
Okay,
So
so you're like
that
doing
disturbance.
subsurface imaging of whatever it was,
Yeah,
like
fluid.
trying to find the gold.
Yeah, fluid. We were watching fluid move, right?
Okay, gotcha.
Um, so we did that, and then COVID happened, and I think we can kind of talk about this in some form or fashion. But we were sitting there, and we cut the company basically, and we're trying to figure out what we're going to do next. Another classmate of your class, actually, Tim Green. Tim
I
Green
don't.
was
I
Reed.
don't.
Okay, but no, he was in your class, so he was also with the company, and we were basically trying to figure out what we do next, and came up with some ideas to use the technology to look for drug tunnels. Um,
Thanks,
so we're able
man. I'm sure
to,
that shit would sell real hard right now.
yeah. I mean, I think that
You better
you
boot
know,
the border.
yeah, we went out to California, went out to San Diego, and
Nice.
we've seen the fence, and you know, it was definitely an interesting experience. Went to Arizona, did some stuff there too. Um,
And that
but
was Alto. That's what you're
no,
talking about.
that's still deep imaging.
So okay, got it.
Yeah, so unfortunately, we weren't able to secure a government contract. It was just too long, and we were
Yeah.
losing money by the day, honestly. And the company's doing well. Acquired a different company, and my old CEO is still running that company, and the CTO is still there. It shaped me. A lot of military people um, uh, um, that we hired, that we worked with, and I think that made the transition really easy because I think going in from the military into the civilian world, you're truly not speaking the same language, right? So
Yeah.
um, having that ability to say some military jargon and someone understood what you were saying and help you translate that made it easier. Having like-minded people, when I think for the most part when the company was starting to fold, when I was looking to my left and my right, there was a lot of, not to say all military people, but it was a lot of men who stepped up and was like, let's figure this thing out. Let's get this done. And And I think just being in that room with people that all had the same goal and all and moving the same direction made me feel like I was in the military, right? When we had to go do the tough stuff, everybody was rolling up their sleeves doing tough stuff. So I think that was a really cool experience, and probably couldn't replicate that, in any other what we did. I couldn't replicate it in any other positions that I had, just because the people were tough enough to get some things done. So
Yeah.
definitely a really cool experience there. I did leave there and went to a fancy Uber company called Alto. Launched the first market um, um, outside of Dallas. Um, Brought in that. I think that was a really really cool experience for me. It was a tech company, so it's a little different model than Uber. We hired all our drivers, trained them as professional drivers. Right, I would get in the back of the car with a cup of coffee, and measure
You said, "Hey, don't spill this coffee, all right?"
we were definitely we really trained our drivers not only how to
So was it
maneuver the
like
vehicles.
supposed to be like a luxury Uber type of
Yeah,
deal?
yep.
Okay.
So you can control the temperature and the lighting and the music all from your phone, right? And this is, they started doing this before COVID, so they had barriers between you and the driver. They clinked all the vehicles after each passenger. So during COVID, that was definitely a huge selling point, but also people weren't moving. So I started looking for some different ideas of talk about marketing. Um, Basically what I thought about, how do I, as I'm launching this market, what was I going to do with limited cars, and how could I make it? How can I sell to the luxury market? Well, we knew where our customers were, so basically what we did was we partner with car dealerships and hotels. Kind of
What kind of
went
cars are
into
you guys driving?
I forgot what they were.
Like Bentley?
They're SUVs. I
All
can't
right.
I can't remember. But they're SUVs, all the same SUV, basically with our logo and stuff like that on them.
Okay.
But yeah, so we did that. And basically the way I looked at it is like, I, you know, wherever our customer is, where that, give me a 3x3, 3 mile to 5 mile, I think was what we kind of drew a circle around. And let's just keep our cars moving constantly, right? That made us appear bigger than what we are, and to our customer in that area, they're like, oh man, this company is really big because they see our cars moving all the time, right? But I'm moving at time probably 5 vehicles. But we had businesses with the car dealerships and with the hotels. It made it easier to be able to cut costs because we knew what they were trying to do. We knew their patterns. We're trying to guess where drives are going to pop up across the city is kind of hard, right? When we're dealing with an individual person. So that allowed us to optimize our business and uh, really start to move toward making money. So and grow the business. So I think it was some cool small things that we did in Houston, that made it unique for us to be able to survive. When no one was moving, we were still able to move people. So I think just a lot of that
It's a
really
good
got me.
experience.
Yeah, it was a good experience because I didn't definitely want to be in the tech space, not in tech space. I didn't want to be in the social media type of like. It wasn't on brand for me to be at Alto. I think that was the biggest thing that I knew. But I knew I wanted to solve problems, right? I knew I wanted to think of some. I believe in a lot of times people overlook simplistic solutions.
Oh,
They're
dude,
looking for
all
these
the
high
time.
end,
I think we all
these
do it.
high, yeah, these
Hey, I gotta do this little task. How complex can I make this
make it, yeah.
to
All
go from
right.
A to B?
Yeah, and we can
Just
move
keep it
towards that
simple.
complex solution. But what can we do today? What can we do that will give us somewhat of the same result today that we will get, down the road? And that will also give us insight into how we make those things work, right? And at scale, right? So I think scaling the problem, scaling up to that solution is the best way to go. I think a lot of times it's not sexy, so people overlook
Yeah,
those things.
never is.
But that's where I live. I like living in that space, right? And creating those simplistic solutions across a large scale. So I did go to Amazon. I wanted to do that. I was in charge of fuel cards for North America. I got to do some really cool things. I think the
What
thing
was your
about
coolest, like, so I'm gonna pause you
yeah,
right there because Amazon's a big name. A
yeah,
lot of military folks go to Amazon. Uh, the most people that listen to this are Amazon or military folks, so a lot of Amazon folks. What was the coolest technology you got to work with Amazon? Obviously,
with
we all get on our phone and we all just say, "Hey, I want this tomorrow." It shows up at your door. But
yeah.
what's the behind the scenes tech
I,
that you can share?
honestly, um, if I say this, you can't put it on LinkedIn. No,
All
I
right, well,
don't blame
don't say it then. Tell me afterwards.
No, no. Working with Amazon, I think I was surprised on a lot of elbow grease that goes into making a lot of things work.
Yeah,
There are a lot of,
like there's a lot of
men and women
manual boots on the
fighting,
ground.
yeah,
Yep,
fighting. And I think it's just, that we use the saying all the time. We build the planes, we fly it.
yeah,
And in that, like, we don't have, I mean, there's might be a solution out there that we could be used, but we're trying to move so fast that we can't even implement that solution, or that solution has, is a year, 2 years away from, uh, doing it at scale. So I think um, that actually allowed me to have a lot of success because of my mindset and like what tools do we do have, what are things that we do have, that I can feel, touch, that we're already paying for, and how can we utilize this in a different way to get squeeze out more cost, um, uh, or optimize or make this better for our customers. So I think that mindset, especially today, in the space that we're in today, has kind of helped me do some cool things inside of Amazon. I think the coolest technology that I've seen, but only in a limited view of it, and I think we're still trying to shape
is it
this. Not
AI related?
AI.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, oh yeah, I'm all
it's
about it. So
it's all, and I think that's where we need to be going. Any entity needs to hedge AI. How we do that safely, and how we do that at scale, how we do that. There's so many different
yeah, it sounds
questions around it that
scary.
we got to go. We got to go. Yeah, we got to go answer. But I think we should be thinking about how we answer those, and I think we should be thinking about how we hedge those, even in small, small businesses. Or I think a lot of times we don't think about automation, but I'm all for automation and everything
Yeah,
that we do. That we
anybody
can,
who's got like
yeah,
no time in their day to really, sit down at a family dinner table,
yeah,
is absolutely thinking about it. So
yeah.
I got
And
you.
I think a lot of times it's just okay. That's going to take me 3 weeks to figure out, or that's going to take me 4 weeks. But if I start just doing the problem, if I just handle the problem right now, I don't. It's a simple. It's the easy way out kind of thing. Like let's put some mental effort in seeing how we automate. Let's put some mental effort in seeing. And a lot of times it's some simplistic stuff that it's not that complicated, and that you could have done in a few hours, or a week or so, and you're spending months and months and months to attack this problem.
Done in 3 seconds.
Yeah, I know. I know, and I've been there. I've been there.
Calmness.
Yeah, I've been
The
there.
anxious is settled.
Yeah,
Your answer has
yeah.
been delivered. So nice, dude. Um, anything else at Amazon where you're at today?
No, I think I enjoy Amazon. I think it definitely I enjoy it, and there's definitely some good and there's definitely some bad. But that's with anything. But I think
Sure.
at Amazon, if you are a problem solver, um, uh, and you're visionary, you have the tools and the resources to solve that problem or make that vision come alive. And I think that's the coolest thing.
Nice.
You can't really do that everywhere. Honestly, I don't know if you can. It's a handful of places that you can do that. So I think
Yeah.
being at one of them um, is probably the coolest thing, because you truly can go solve a lot of complex, complicated, convoluted, any C word you want to throw in there, you can go solve a bunch of problems. So
There's another guy that I want to get on here that works at Amazon. His name's Corey. He played outside linebacker at
yeah,
Navy. He was like maybe a
so
year or two
he was
older.
a senior when I was a freshman. He was in my company.
Okay.
Yeah,
So Corey Johnson, right?
Johnson. Yeah,
All right. So
he
you
was a
better,
basketball player,
yeah.
and then
And he's a basketball player. So, and he's got the Amazon experience. You better poke him for me. Got to get him on here.
no, yeah, I reached out to Corey. I think on when I first started. But yeah, I'll reach back out to him. Yeah,
Nice.
I
All
think
right.
he's in Tennessee now.
That's my selfish part of the podcast. Done with that. All right. So who's been your best mentor? Do you think over the years? You got a favorite? Got a couple?
Um, who's my best mentor?
Could be a few.
I think uh let me make sure that I'm not. I'm gonna do some quick make
Just
sure
making
I
sure you got the name right, right?
no. I honestly want to see my mentors and make sure I'm not forgetting anybody that uh, trying to measure impact. I would say um, David Moore, military guy, was my first CEO. Um, um, he he was a cool dude. I think he was a no nonsense guy, but he had that military set about him, and he was able to go on both sides of the business, both be a people leader and just really smart on being strategic, and having a long vision. And then I think he took a lot of time to invest in myself, Tim Green, some of his other leaders, and invest in us and make sure we had the tools. He challenged us. I think so. I learned a lot, honestly. I don't think in that span, I was only with them for a year and a half, and even after, he still reached out, stuff like that. So, but I think in that year and a half, I grew a lot and learned so much.
Yeah, isn't
And
it
it was during
crazy
COVID. Yeah,
how a good mentor
yeah,
really does that investment,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
When
So
they
it
see
was,
that spark or whatever, and they're like, I need to keep this one.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I actually need to reach out to him. I think it's been a few years since we talked. But no, I think that's by far. I think I've learned the most under that span, in that span of time than any other time. Like I think.
When you said that, you learned the most out of that span of time under your good mentor, David Moore, um, what, you learned more. Was it just because he was feeding you information, or is it like you were invested in whatever he said? And it was like, I got to latch onto this because this guy knows his shit.
It was a little bit of like I liked the way he was able to carry himself.
Okay.
I liked how I liked his transition. I liked how he was able to be that like military guy, military leader, but then he had a good transition through the business world. So I knew he knew his stuff there, and then he
Yep.
actually showed it. I think he made hard decisions. He made me make hard decisions, which I think a lot of times, you know, um, we can shy away from. He allowed me to make mistakes, right? He put me in positions that were probably a stretch for me at the time. Um, even in my mind, and I think I could do anything. So I think that
Don't we all?
having the backing and the confidence that that
Yeah, that's
if
the
I
key.
make this mistake, yeah, if I make this mistake, I
Yep.
play with Wyatt and Kevin, and if I rock down, like I play with Wyatt and Kevin my whole entire collegiate
They're gonna
career.
let you know, hey, you
Yeah,
fucked up.
but I know like if I do this, they got me. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying? I know that they're in the right position. I know that they're behind me. So even if I make a mistake, they got me. So you're not even thinking about making a mistake. You're just going, right?
yeah,
You're just going and you're making things happen. And that's a lot of power in that. When you're in the right room with the right people, moving in the right direction. There's nothing more powerful than that.
yeah,
So
for
you can
sure.
stack if you can stack more and more people into that equation, then the more you can do. But
Yeah, it
I
just
think,
multiplies. Yep.
yeah, I think having that, and I've been chasing that too. I've been chasing that
Trying to
that
find it
mentorship,
again.
that back, and yeah, yeah, I got you. I truly
Man,
believe in what you're doing. I want to be back in that space and back in that you know in that room because you feel like you can. Like I said, I already
do
feel like I
anything.
can do everything, but now that it's even at a
Yeah,
higher
got to
level.
play the game a little bit,
Yeah,
but still seeking that authentic,
yeah,
um, no bullshit
yeah,
type of thing. So
yeah.
I got you. Um, so for you, what's your greatest accomplishment? It doesn't have to be work related. It could be
Greatest
whatever it
accomplishment.
is. Yeah, greatest accomplishment.
Um, Greatest accomplishment.
What makes you sleep well at night? That's another way to put it.
I think that what's you know I can't put this in and like quantify it, but I do feel like um, just me as a father, I think that's been the greatest accomplishment. And for me, it's just being a father to my beautiful kids, two kids. I have two. My son's 11, my daughter's is 6, and so I think that is where a lot of my focus is, and a lot of my fondness, outside of football and things like that. I think it's just me as a father. No matter what's happened in my life or the tough things that's going on, just being able to, yeah, or whatever challenge I'm facing in work, just being able to block all of that out and be a father and be there how they need me to be is probably the thing that I care about the most, thing that lets me sleep at night, and the greatest accomplishment, right? It's that.
Awesome. I remember running into you in Vegas,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe about a year ago, year and a half or
yeah,
so. I actually got the photo.
yeah,
I'm gonna share that sucker real quick. If I can figure out how to do that again. Window. Boom. There we go. Good time.
yeah, man.
And when I saw you here, I was in one of those soul searching moments,
Yeah,
and it was great to see you. That's for
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Um, but what else out of that? That is there anything else?
Um, no, I think outside of that, like if I pull from for work, I just think everywhere I've been able to leave, like my brother said, leave a mark, leave
Yeah, because
something.
you were at an Amazon conference during that
Yeah,
time, I think, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been able to build something everywhere I've been, that's still up and running and is still feasible and everywhere I've been. So I think that's been pretty cool. Um, and I've always been able to meet the challenge. Like, the joke probably was someone, I think it was Logic, who said I was always able to leave a mark. Because some of the people that were coming to him in the academy was like, yeah, your brother's an asshole. Because I did I was able to either do something crazy or, on a negative side, and then get into my career and start to do,
Yeah.
use that charm or whatever for good, not evil.
It's called
So
the rebound.
yeah,
You know,
yeah, so
that's the story of my life is like I just seek
yeah,
ways to figure out how to reset
yeah,
or come back or
yeah,
find that low point in order to make things better. So
yeah,
I think that that is a huge theme out of everybody's story. So that's why I asked.
yeah, yeah,
Cool. All right. So on that theme, what's your biggest failure?
yeah. On the flip side, I think my biggest failure, for me, was just probably my divorce. Going through that, I think I came from a broken home, and I wanted to give my kids that life, the same, not to give them a different life than I had. I wanted to be, come home every day to them, stuff like that. So that probably was the biggest failure. I think a lot of just getting married young, right out of the academy. Actually, it was first. We were the first people to get married. People still in my class. People were still graduating, still in the stadium when we were actively getting married. So yeah, so I think just really just not understanding what that was and how to do that really well. Yeah, so I think that has been tough. I think just relationships are tough, in any work relationship, coaching, whatever, you know, uh, marriages, dating, whatever. They're just tough. They're just tough over time. They're gonna hit to a point, and I think we've all had to make those we've all got to that point in this point of our lives now, you know, 15, 20, 25 years removed from, college. Now you're starting to go through life and having to go through some tough stuff. So that probably was the toughest thing. I had to go into that dark room and figure out, how I view myself and how I do things and how I move forward and all that kind of stuff. So, I did that, came out of that, and I'm in a really, really good place. And, you know, get to you know still be impacting my children's lives and really focus on how I impact and how we do some of the things that we used to do. So I think that was initially was probably the biggest failure. Yeah.
Would you have done anything different looking back
No,
on that?
no, I think I needed to learn a lot of these things, right? I think I needed to learn how to uh, do these things. I think I needed to um, uh, feel it. I think I needed to understand it. I don't think there would be anything that I would have done
Yeah.
differently. I think that there may be some things it was just more emotional things, in the time. I would have probably tried to take emotions out of some of the decisions I made or some of the things that I did in a moment. But that's all small stuff that the aggregate of what happened and what I did and how life shaped. I wouldn't change it at all.
Gotcha.
So
Well, cool, man. Appreciate you sharing that. Uh, that's always a good question to ask people. And
yeah,
it's not always easy to either say
yeah,
or even talk about or, but the biggest failure, somebody else that's listening to this is actually thinking about it. So
yeah,
um, that's why I ask.
yeah. I didn't
All
think I
right.
would say that, but I don't know. The I don't know. It was I guess emotional response, but I don't take it back. I think it's just the truth. So yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I like that
dude.
question.
And the truth shall set you free.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah,
What's your biggest struggle that you're working through today? So in your current life, you got
yeah.
a problem that needs to be solved. What is that for you?
I think the biggest problem that I'm struggling with is um, I'm always trying to solve all the problems. I'm always trying to come up with all the answers, and sometimes um, you miss the bigger point. I'm so focused on controlling all the different outcomes and seeing what could happen instead of like really living life. So I think that's really probably my biggest challenge is to, you know, when to,
When to hang it
be that,
up?
Yeah, when should just kind of like let things flow and
Yeah.
kind of move forward.
Yeah, it's like playing DB, knowing that Tony Haber's in the game as the linebacker and it's a passing team, and kind of like, fuck.
No,
Dude
no.
can't cover, I'm gonna cover his ass. But in real time today.
Yeah, no, I think that's it. Just having that trust, and I think it really starts with going back to my earlier comment about the mentor. It's just being in that room where everybody in that room's got your back, right? And being in that room, everybody's moving in the same direction, right? And you don't have to score every touchdown. You don't have to make every play, right? You can just do your job, right? And that's what I want to get back to. It's just like kind of just you know, finding that space where I'm supposed to be in life and being around the people that's supposed to be around me and doing my portion of my job, right? And trusting that the other people around me are doing theirs, right? And I think that's um, is where I want to get to in all phases of my life right now.
Good stuff. So next steps. What does the next 3 to 5 years look like for Emmett Merchant?
Yeah, that's always changing for me. I think I definitely want. I came to Amazon. I definitely wanted to see if I could do it, do the things I've done on a smaller scale, as startups at this scale. I feel like I've done some cool things. I still want to do some more. So within the next year or two, I definitely want to have you know driven to completion another major project, major milestone. I also came here with the aspirations to, advance my career through Amazon. I don't necessarily know if that's still the same goals that I have for myself, but I do want to still make another impact while I'm
Yeah.
here.
Kind of
Um,
be the best version
yeah,
of
100%
what
competing.
you can be. Yeah.
Yeah, competing with myself. I think I think that's intermediate, the long term. Um, I think I definitely want to step out and do some more stuff on my own. I'm dabbling in little different things here and there, um, but I spend a lot of time not aligned. You know, I love solving problems, but I want to align the things that I'm doing and the problems I'm solving with things I truly care about. I want those two things to be one and the same. And I don't necessarily know if that opportunity is out there for me. Um, in a company. I don't know if that company exists right now, but so
Maybe you can
I think I
create
can
it.
create it. That's what I'm saying. I think I got to create it, right? So I think that's probably moving into probably doing something on my own. I don't know what scale. It might not have to be
So what are you
my
thinking? Like you got that entrepreneurial spirit. What is that right now for you shape up to be?
you
If
know
you were to do something on your own, what industry space would that be?
probably in the real estate space. I
Okay.
think I don't know necessarily what that looks like, but I think there's a lot of opportunities there. Um, it's done well by me. My brother's definitely crushing it. I know a lot of people, our classmates, that are crushing it in different avenues. I don't
Yeah.
necessarily,
Rates just
yeah,
got cut too, so
yeah, yeah.
or
So
it's
yeah,
coming.
so I don't know necessarily what that specifically looks like for me. It doesn't necessarily look. I've ran into Marco. He has a really cool company, Marco Nelson, and
Yeah, he was in
uh,
Vegas that day. We
ABAC.
just never
Yeah,
linked up
yeah,
with him.
so, yeah. ABAC, he was one of our NAPS coaches, so he was a class of six, and
Nice.
he's put me onto some different things that are happening in the space, and seeing him do well. Ryan Green is in mobility, but seeing him do some cool things and doing some things that he's passionate about. Like so, there's a mix of some things that I'm trying to make come to a complete whole. But I think there's a lot of linkage between mobility data and real estate, or where people are moving to and where they're going, into
Yeah.
understanding what's about to happen, being able to predict and model properly. So
Well,
I think
here's my thoughts on that on that whole mobility and where people are moving to. I've grew up in Texas. Had a passion to try and get to the Florida area at one point. Did the California thing. There's a mass exodus going on there, but for taxes and cost of living reasons, etc. Did Oklahoma, was on the East Coast, as you know, but the Kentucky area continues to grow. It's got a very low cost of living. So same boat. I'm kind of thinking in similar terms. Just don't yet know how to do it. So I'll keep on studying, I guess.
And I think that's what I'm doing. My next 2 to 3 years on top of what I'm doing is figuring out what does that next project look like for myself? What problem am I going to solve? And at what scale I'm going to do it. So I think just, I'm not necessarily trying to be all in to where this is the only thing I do and how I feed my family, but definitely want to start doing more things on my own and exploring what those opportunities look like.
What I would say is if you did go all in with it, you might get surprised.
Yeah.
That's the risk. Yeah. That's the risk we always think about, right?
I think I've been so comfortable, right? We never talk about how comfortability breeds complacency, right? And I think I've been complacent in a lot of phases of my life. And now coming to the point where things have been shaken up and it's like, I'm no longer comfortable. So now I'm like, okay, so right now, I'm in a perfect state to probably do that. Mentally and just kind of how just being coming back from being off balance, just like the Ohio State hit, right? I'm getting back up off the field.
The good news for you is you've been in plenty of those situations. And every time you get put in the corner, you find a way out, right? Yeah. And that's me talking to you as a hypocrite because I haven't done the same thing. So just spitballing. Last question. What's your price of admission?
I alluded to this all earlier, but I think our price of admission is perspective, is measuring, not chasing happiness, getting to the point where we are content over time, right? Because that's truly moving in that growth path. We're meant to be upset. We're meant to be angry. We're meant to be hurt. We're meant to be happy. We're meant to be all these different emotions throughout a life cycle, right? Everything's a cycle. So we can't be in any one of these phases too long, right? So move through the phases, right? It's being really content. Where I think we put a negative connotation on that. Contentment means we're settling. It only means you're settling when you stop, right? You're settling when you accept that this is the only thing, not when this is the state I'm in and I'm moving in the direction that I need to go, right? And measuring that. So I think the price of admission is keeping things in perspective and chasing contentment over time, right?
Gotcha. Well, cool, man. I appreciate your time today. Hope you had some fun. I obviously love doing this, and I always learn something out of the episodes, and this one definitely learned quite a bit. So I would say thank you.
Yeah,
and appreciate your time,
man. Tony, thanks for having me, man. It's been a cool experience, man. So
cool. All right, dude.
All right, man.